Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things. And now we see them in today. We got a pretty interesting show for you guys today that we definitely want you guys to stick around for. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, the latest news in the NBA right now is Kyrie Irving, right? Kyrie Irving has made headlines again. If those of you who are not aware, yesterday ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski broke a story that Kyrie Irving requested to be traded from the Brooklyn Nets. Subsequently, all the various media platforms picked up on it, and they started covering it. Even we here yesterday, we did two lives actually, talking about it, and we gave our initial thoughts. On the surface level, I think most of us thought that, hey, wait a minute, the reason he would want to do this is because of a contract extension, right? Because, as you know, Kyrie Irving wanted a long-term deal. Ultimately, the Brooklyn Nets did not offer him that. And I think, according to some reports, they were discussing an extension, in the background, and apparently they were unable to reach an agreement, and therefore he demanded a trade. Right, that was the first bit of information that came out. This was just on Friday, right? But then after getting some information, we started to hear some other reasons, and one of them, I believe, was that Kyrie said, and I can't find the quote, but Kyrie said that his decision actually, in fact, has nothing to do with money, right? That his decision for wanting to be traded from the Brooklyn Nets has absolutely nothing to do with money. And that kind of threw me for a curveball, because I was like, wait, his decision has nothing to do with money. Then what could it possibly be? What would be the reason that Kyrie Irving would want to be traded if it wasn't for money, right? And it caused me to think. And it wasn't only until this morning when I was just kind of, catching up on some of the shows that I usually follow on YouTube, just catching up on one of the shows. And I believe that one of the episodes, one of the episodes from, I believe it was Too Raw for Sports or Too Raw for TV. He has two channels, but I think it's for that one. If I could be mistaken. And he made a point. He was talking about the situation, and he made a point where he said, maybe Kyrie, given his position in terms of his stances, his spirituality, his religious beliefs, maybe it has something to do with the owner. I'm like, the owner? And it caused me to think. It sparked a thought, in my mind. And then I went to his Twitter and I looked at a post that he put up 19 hours ago. He said, "To my peers, just be yourself and grow. Keep people around you who celebrate you unconditionally and appreciate all of the hard work that gets put in. Distance yourself from folks who manipulate, hate, and hurt." And then I started to research a little bit, and I'm like, okay, well, let me kind of comb it. Let me just kind of do some background work. And I came across two articles here that I want to read from ESPN. And the other one is from Sportskeeda. Let me read this one here from Sportskeeda first. Allegations against Brooklyn Nets owner Joe Tsai resurfaces about his company funding, all you need to know about the Muslim controversy. It goes, in April in 2022, ESPN allegedly reported that Brooklyn Nets team owner Joe Tsai was financially supporting a cultural genocide of Uyghur Muslims in China. The Alibaba co-founder invested in Megvii and SenseTime AIs that are reportedly used in shepherding minor ethnic groups into barbed wire camps for re-education. The PRC government, where Tsai is rumored to be influential, has maintained that the camps operate to prevent terrorism and maintain regional stability. Megvii and SenseTime provide facial recognition capabilities for the government to keep track of said minority groups. Joe Tsai signed off on Alibaba's commitment to both technological companies and now controls 29.4% of Megvii and 7% of SenseTime. Needless to say, he has a full understanding and acknowledge of the purpose their technologies have been used in the Xinjiang region. Excuse me if I pronounced that improperly. The U.S. government enforced a diplomatic boycott during the 2022 Winter Games in Beijing due to alleged human rights abuse in the region. The Biden administration banned diplomats from going to China at the time for ongoing genocide and crimes against humanity. NBA journeyman Enes Kanter Freedom was one of the loudest figures to accuse the communist government of committing genocide against those people. And the article goes on. I want to quickly read from the ESPN article. Brooklyn Nets owner Joe Tsai is the face of NBA unease-China relationship. Joe Tsai, the billionaire owner of the Brooklyn Nets, made his fortune in China. His company Alibaba began in Hangzhou, excuse me if I mispronounced that, apartment, and has since been described as Amazon on steroids. When Tsai bought into the NBA, Commissioner Adam Silvers predicted he'll be invaluable to the league's expansion in the world's largest market. 2.5 years later, Tsai personifies the compromises embedded in the NBA-China relationship, which brings in billions of dollars, but requires the league to do business with an authoritarian government and look past the kind of social justice issues it's fighting at home. In the United States, Tsai donates hundreds of millions of dollars to combat racism and discrimination. In China, Alibaba, under Tsai's leadership, partners with companies blacklisted by the U.S. government for supporting a campaign of repression, mass arbitrary detention, and high-tech surveillance through state-of-the-art racial profiling. Tsai has publicly defended some of China's most controversial policies. He's described the government's brutal crackdown on dissent as necessary to promote economic growth, defended a law used to imprison scores of pro-democracy activists in Hong Kong as necessary to squelch separatism, and when questioned about human rights, asserted that most of China's 1.4 billion citizens are happy about where they are. And the article continues on. Now, to the point that he brought up on 2 Hour for Sports, if we then think of what Kyrie Irving is all about, positivity, uplifting people, and all of that, you can kind of see where there would be a conflict of interest. And I'm not saying that this is the reason. Let me just clarify. I'm not saying that this is the reason Kyrie Irving is demanding a trade. I'm saying that given the fact that Kyrie is someone that likes to, researching things and, delve deep into certain issues, this could be one of them. Right? It could be one of them. And if it is in fact the reason, then I can understand why this is much bigger than basketball. Right? And I can understand him not wanting to be affiliated with something like that, given his beliefs. Now, some people have no issue with that at all. And it's something that a lot of critics of they've been very critical of LeBron James, saying that he's a hypocrite. You're saying one thing and then you're endorsing another thing. Which is a conversation that takes place out there. I try not to delve too much into that because I know ultimately you're going to walk into the door of politics and sports, and then it can get very messy. And I'm not sure if I want to, be a part of that. But I'm aware of this sentiment out there about LeBron. But back to Kyrie Irving, if in fact it has something to do with it, then I can understand his reason to be wanting to be traded. And he said, as a matter of fact, that in fact it has nothing to do. This is Kyrie Irving. That his trade request has nothing to do with money, right? Has nothing to do with money. And if it in fact has nothing to do with money, could it be that it may be that he wants to be traded for ethical reasons, right? And if it has something to let me just show, to do with money, and if it has something to do with ethical reasons, then I can understand that, right? Then I can understand that because now you're talking about his ethics. And as you all know, whether you agree with this or agree with him, Kyrie Irving is a very principled person. But this is just something that just a thought I had. Not saying that this is the reason, but it's food for thought. And it's something that I thought it was worth sharing with the audience. Maybe we can go back and forth on it. So whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We catch you on the next show. Peace.